Welcome to the Equinety Podcast, where horse owners just like you share their incredible Equinety stories and how Equinety is changing their horses' lives. Whether you're searching for something to give your performance horse better focus, faster recovery, and more stamina, or in the extreme case where all hope seems lost, give your horse what it needs to help heal at a cellular level, you'll find it here. So jump in on today's episode to hear how Equinety is helping horses worldwide. Now, welcome your host, John Dowdy.
Hello and welcome to this week's Equinety Podcast. We are swinging up into the great state of South Carolina. This week we're going to be talking about a mare that has some really bad hoof issues, Whiteline specifically, and there's a lot of other benefits that came along with using the Equinety product. But without further ado, Kathey Bailey, welcome to the Equinety Podcast.
Thank you, John. I'm happy to be able to talk to you about my mare.
Well, and we're excited, as always, to have on our guest, and it's a great way to be able to share these stories. And, you know, a lot of other people might be dealing with the same or similar situations, and they don't know what else to do, and so maybe this will give them a little bit of hope. So tell us about your mare. How long have you had her? What kinds of things were you dealing with all this time with her?
Okay. Well, she's a 9-year-old Pasofino mare. She is my very first Pasofino. And I saw her at my Pasofino trainer's barn and fell in love with her, but she was lame and they didn't know why. And I really liked her. I wanted a mare because mares and I get along good.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to sell her to me until they knew that she was sound. They didn't know why she all of a sudden went lame. So they had the vet come out, and the vet looked her over and said, oh, she has Whiteline, and she has hoof wall separation. So I said, okay, all right. Well, I have helped other horses with people that have had the Whiteline and pulled them through, no problem. And I said, I can handle this. I can do this. Well, they still didn't want to sell her to me. Not until she was sound. And I wanted this mare so bad. So I came back, and the vet had, and I don't know if this is their new practice or what, but she cut the hoof wall off where it had separated. And I freaked when I saw her hoof because there was no hoof wall there. Half of it on the front was gone. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And then I remembered a product I had seen on Facebook before, the Equinety,
yes.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pronounce.
That's all right.
Yeah, and so I went on Facebook. I said, I know it's on here somewhere. I got to look, and I kept looking. I couldn't find it, and I kept looking, and then all of a sudden it popped up. And I'm like, there it is. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So I told them, I said, I want the mare, bring her to my place, and this is what I'm going to do. So they finally agreed, and they brought her over. And she's a very sweet mare, and I just wanted one to ride and have fun with. I didn't want a show horse. Mm-hmm. I just want to have fun on. And she has just been great, but it really freaked me out when I saw the hoof. So I ordered your product, and I've had her here a month now, and she has actually been on your product 2 weeks. And I took a picture of her hoof before, without the hoof wall.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Before.
Yeah. We'll post that picture, too, by the way.
Yeah, before, and then 2 weeks afterwards. And there is at least 1.5 inch, 2 inch growth.
That's incredible.
I could not believe it when I took the picture at 2 weeks. I saw her every day, so I really didn't notice it that much until I compared the pictures, and I was like, oh my. I said, I have got to call John and send him these pictures.
Yeah, and you did, yeah. And I tell you, it's what's really interesting with this product, it's not a hoof supplement, you know, and it's not a joint supplement. It's not a shiny coat supplement or muscle building top line supplement. It's, for those of you tuning in, it's 100% pure amino acids, but they're specific in the combination that what the purpose of them is to stimulate the pituitary gland, which is the master gland in the body. And that's what releases the necessary hormones, which help repair at a cellular level. So when we can give the horse what it needs to release its own hormones, then the body is going to send those hormones to the problem areas. And so we get a lot of people that are sending in pictures dealing, with hoof issues. And in this case, Whiteline with separated walls. And it's probably one of the most common things that we see when people start using the product is how these hooves now, they're just healthier, stronger, faster growing, thicker soles. It gives the farrier a lot more to work with in a shorter amount of time. So,
it does.
Yeah. So have you had your farrier out since, I know you've only been on product 2 weeks, but has your farrier seen?
I sent him the pictures and he sent back a text. Wow.
Yeah.
He's going to be coming back out because he was thinking he was going to have to build her a hoof wall and put her on aluminum front shoes. Mm. And I love for my horses to be barefoot,
sure,
to be natural and barefoot. But I don't think he's going to have to, honestly, because her hoof wall is growing so great. And her back legs, when she first got here, were popping and cracking a little bit, but now they're not. And her coat, she was solid white. She's pitching her coat now. But all of a sudden, it's just like I see these gray dapples all over her. And she's just dappling out. She is just turning out to be one of the most beautiful horses I've seen.
Wow. Now, what color was she when you brought her to your place?
She was, she still had a little bit of a winter coat, but it was solid white. And they said that, the Pasafinas will change colors, so don't panic. But I called them and told them, I said, well, she's got gray dapples all over. They said, what?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, she has gray dapples all over her now.
Wow. They're probably thinking, why did we get rid of this horse?
But she is, when I first turned her out, we go on long walks together because I need to keep the blood circulating through her legs and all. And she would walk and she would take that head and she would bob it all the way to the ground like ow. But now she's out in the arena. I turn her out every morning. She takes off running and she does her little corto and her largo, and she just barely has a head bob. Nothing like what she had.
Very interesting. Now, you had mentioned about the joints were popping and different things were popping, and that since you've been using the product, that's kind of gone away.
Yeah. It has.
Yeah, and it's something that we hear often. And again, even with injected horses that, some of the ones that are out on circuit and they're really working hard on a weekly basis that are used to getting regularly scheduled injections, a lot of the feedback that we receive once they start using the amino acids in the Equinety Horse Excel, the injections, they last longer. Or you could spin that around and say they don't need them as often or sometimes not at all, depending on the severity of what's going on. But with the popping and things going on in the joints, we hear that a lot, that they just significantly decrease or just stop altogether. But,
and her muscle tone too she has just built up muscle that she didn't have when she first got here, and I really have not worked her.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, geez, when she is sound and I do get on her and ride her, is she going to look like a quarter horse?
Yeah, you might have a show horse after all when all this is done.
Yeah, I just might.
Yeah. So, and you'd mentioned about filling out and muscle tone and everything else. And a lot of times, we post before and after pictures, which is what we recommend people doing, which is what you did with the hoof, because especially when you're around your horse every day, you don't notice the little changes going on. But
yes.
A lot of the pictures that we see are, we could call it significant weight gain, but they are filling out. They've put on a lot of weight in just 30 days. And again, I want to stress, this is not a weight gain product. It's, we're giving the body what it needs so it can help repair itself. And in combination, this isn't the end-all be-all product. It's not a miracle supplement. Although it has done some miraculous things. But when you use this in combination with the proper farrier and veterinarian and the TLC and nutrition, I mean, these horses really just blossom to a light. In this case, I mean, dappled out for the first time at 9 years old. So, that's pretty amazing. And so I would guess that her demeanor and everything else is just off the charts happy. And
she's happy. She's, like I said, when I turn her out and I walk away, she screams for me, like, "Where are you going?"
That's great.
She gets out there. I mean, she's just a happy, healthy horse, even with her hoof being gone, hoof wall being gone like it has been.
Yeah.
But it's growing in so quickly.
Yeah, that's great. Well, on our website at teamequinety.com, we're going to have this podcast where it will be posted. Below the podcast, we'll have this podcast transcribed. We'll also post the pictures so you can see the before pictures at 2 weeks, which we're only 2 weeks in at the time of this recording. But in another couple weeks and maybe even 6 weeks, we'll get pictures and post all that up so we can see the progress of things going on. And that would be absolutely great. And also, Kathey, we're speaking with Kathey Bailey out of South Carolina here, for those of you just tuning in. If there's anybody that still may be a little bit on the fence and thinking this stuff sounds a little too good to be true, is there anything that you could maybe tell them other than what you've already talked about that might get them off the fence to try it?
All I can say is you have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I would get the 3-month supply. Try it. You have nothing to lose and so much to gain. What I have seen from my mare, my mouth hangs open every day just thinking about what she's actually going to be when she has finally got a new hoof.
Right. Yeah, that is fantastic. So, well, Kathey Bailey, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story here on the Equinety Podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited about this product.
Well, you bet. I appreciate it. Thanks.
That's all for this episode of the Equinety Podcast. For more information on purchasing Equinety, be sure to visit our website at teamequinety.com, where you'll also find product information as well as more testimonials on how others have seen amazing results by implementing Equinety into their horse's supplement regime. We'll have more stories on how Equinety is helping horses worldwide right here on a future episode of the Equinety Podcast.